Hey everyone, it's Enjoy English School. Yo! Today is March 30th, and we're beginning our first day of our two-day article called Letting the Mind Wander.
Yeah, 我们来今天讲的主题呢是探索科学。好，这个单元在里面的话，我们介绍的是神游。神游居然能够激发好点子哦。有的时候你发现到，一个人在那边故国神游那种感觉呢，东想西想的，天马行空的想，你就觉得说啊，好浪费时间哦。不会。它有的时候呢，好的点子、很棒的创意，就是在这种情况下出现的。那为什么会这样呢？我们今天来好好的谈一谈。
Letting the mind wander. Finding the solution to a problem can be challenging. We might think about an issue for hours without finding an answer. Then we take a break and go for a walk. While walking around, we suddenly think of the perfect solution to the problem. This is a common experience for many people. But why does this happen? In 2001, a group of scientists were carrying out experiments in which volunteers were doing difficult tasks. The team then compared the images of a person's brain during rest and the images of the volunteers' brains. The scientists noticed that a specific region of the brain was more active when volunteers did simple tasks than when they engaged in demanding ones. The scientists have named this area of the brain the default mode network, or the DMN. Simply put, the DMN connects several parts of our brain. It is responsible for creative ideas, and when we are not actively thinking about a problem, it continues to work and helps us reorganize our thoughts. As a result, we come up with great ideas when we are doing simple, repetitive tasks like taking a shower or going for a walk.
Okay, friends, we're looking at pages 58 and 59 in our magazine. Before we begin paragraph 1, let's look at our subtitle. So, great things can happen when you take a break.
Yeah, 所以这个 subtitle 副标题里面看到说，休息一下或许能让你想出很厉害的点子哦。在这里的话 ，Great things can happen when you take a break。好，在这里的话，你就想说，那我们好好的休息一下，这样。
还不错，还不错，还不错。So let's compare two words here. Wander is in our title, W-A-N-D-E-R. When we wander, that means we're walking or going to a place with no goal. We're just walking. When I first came to Taiwan, especially Taipei, I was really interested in all the little alleys all over the city. Just say, hey, where does this road go? And I would just walk. I didn't want to find a famous place. I just wanted to walk. And so I wandered. I didn't know where I was. And I would just look at the sky and see Taipei 101. And I say, okay, that's Taipei 101. I know that's the east part of the city. And I would just wander looking for something fun or something interesting.
没错，所以在提到 wander 这个字的时候呢，你会想到的事情是你没有特别的目的，你就是随处乱逛，东看看西看看。像老师刚来到台湾的时候，他也喜欢在街上乱逛乱走，还看到哇，这是台北101，好酷哦！好，这是在这个城市的东边，然后这样慢慢建立起对这个城市的印象。
That's right. I would buy just food and walk and eat. And I remember 我从来没有吃过一个莲雾。I had never eaten 莲雾 before. Wax apples, I think they're called.
没错。
So I saw a supermarket and they were so good. So I bought like a big bag of wax apples. And 我现在知道我原本在哪里. I was walking in like 忠孝敦化, like this big shopping area in Taipei, and this big bag of wax apples. I'm walking and eating.
好奇妙哦，好奇妙。
那个外国人 is eating like 10 wax apples, just eating them.
好酷哦，一边走边吃，然后觉得好棒哦，好开心。
A big bag of them. Okay, so let's go to our first paragraph. Finding the solution to a problem can be challenging.
好，我们来看第一段的第一句话，他说 Finding the solution to a problem can be challenging. 好，这边的话讲到说，要去找到问题的解决办法呢，感觉上是蛮有挑战性的。通常有的时候会有挑战性。
So a solution just means an answer. Now pay attention. 这个 finding the solution to a problem, that's our subject. Today we're going to see, I think, or maybe is it tomorrow? We're going to see a lot of gerunds as subjects. Let's look through these paragraphs and pay attention. What's the subject? You might need to be a little creative today.
没错，所以这边的话呢，特别注意一下，我们看到非常非常多 VING 当做主词的这种情况，像这边的 finding the solution to a problem， 这个 finding 就是老师刚刚讲的 gerund， 就是 VING 的意思。
Tomorrow, it's tomorrow. I won't cancel那页。Let's continue. We might think about an issue or a problem for hours without finding an answer.
好，我们来看第二句话他说 We might think about an issue for hours. 也许我们针对一个问题苦思了好几个小时 without finding an answer, 却得不到任何的解答。
Pick up your pen. An issue has a special pronunciation. 这个 SS 发 SH 写下来。Let's go to our next sentence here. Then we take a break and go for a walk.
Then we take a break. 那干脆休息一下 and go for a walk. 散散步，走一走。
This is key. This is really important. We go for a walk, or we do nothing, or we do something very boring. We're not just grabbing our phone and scrolling, right? That's going to be a problem we'll see later. While walking around, we suddenly think of the perfect solution to the problem.
好，接下来呢，神奇的事情发生喽。While walking around， 在你走着走着的情况之下 we suddenly think of the perfect solution to the problem. 我们突然之间觉得，这个主意不错。突然之间，最好的想法、最好的解决办法就在我们脑海里头，嘣，浮现出来了。
This is a common experience for many people, but why does it happen?
好，接下来会问你说 This is a common experience for many people. 很多人都有类似这样的经验。But why does this happen? 但是为什么会这样呢？
Do you know what's another thing that happens? Very similar to this. When you let your mind wander. So we'll learn that kind of taking a break and doing something a little boring is good for your mind. It's good for your thinking. Did you ever take a shower and you're thinking about maybe you had an argument? 你跟一个人吵架，然后你突然想到 that would be really good to say. That's the same thing. This is the same thing.
对，没错，也是老师刚刚讲到说，有的时候你在洗澡洗着，然后今天可能跟人家在争论什么事情，然后在吵架的时候，有时候吵输对方，感觉很糟嘛。然后在晚上洗着澡的时候，发现到我当下那一刻我应该这样讲的，就可以对吧
This is the same thing, dude.
好生气。
This is the same thing. Like the thing that makes Einstein really special is the same thing that makes us think of like, 我原本应该要这样
讲的，对，没错。
All right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, let's learn about why this happens. Hey friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We're on pages 58 and 59 today, and our article is Letting the Mind Wander. Sometimes when you take a break, it's good for your thinking. Let's learn why this is true. Paragraph 2 begins, in 2001, a group of scientists were carrying out experiments in which volunteers were doing difficult tasks. This is a tricky sentence. Listen to the vocab while Anthony says it again.
没错，来这边的话，我们来先看一下第二段第一句话哦。他说 ，In 2001， 好，2001年的时候 ，a group of scientists 有一群科学家，他们怎么样呢 ？Were carrying out experiments， 正在做实验 ，in which 这边的 which 就是指前面的 experiments， 你可以把它断句想成 in these experiments， 这样去看就简单了啊。Volunteers were doing difficult tasks. 好，在这里面的话，这些受试者或是义工呢，他们正在做着一些比较难的一些工作。这个 tasks 就是任务的意思。
So let's highlight carrying out experiments. The verb for experiments is pretty important. We can say do experiments, but it doesn't really sound good. We usually like to say conduct experiments. Conduct is C-O-N. D-U-C-T 不是 duck 不是鸭子 right conduct or carry out experiments and one more time with this word volunteers volunteers are people who work for free
没错，所以在这边的话呢，老师特别讲到了 experiment 这个字呢，它可以跟哪些动词去搭呢？当然可以用 do， 没错，那是很口语的讲法，听起来没有那么漂亮。我们可以在这边使用 carry out， 好，在这边看到的，还可以使用 conduct 这个动词。
Let's continue. The team then compared the images of a person's brain during rest and the images of the volunteers' brains.
好，接下来他下一句话很有意思哦。然后呢，这个科学家小组呢就去比较了两种不同的这个可能脑子的那个扫描图哦。他说 ，compare the images of a person's brain during rest。他就先找一个人在休息时候脑袋的这种活动的状态。And the images of the volunteers' brains， 不要忘记了，这些 volunteers 都在做着很困难的任务，对不对？去比较他们脑袋活跃的区域啊，等等这个图片的这种差异。
So let's underline during, and we can say at rest. That's also okay here, during rest or at rest. Let's continue. The scientists noticed that a specific region of the brain was more active when volunteers did simple tasks than when they engaged in demanding ones.
好，接下来他们的发现就出现了哦。The scientists， 好，这些科学家就发现了 ，notice that， 注意到说 ，a specific region of the brain was more active when volunteers did simple tasks。好，这边他注意到说，这些他找来的这些义工呢，不是在做困难任务吗？然后他在讲说，这些人在做简单任务的时候，相较于困难任务，在做简单任务的时候，他们脑袋的某一个区域呢，特别的活跃。然后呢，这边后面讲到 ，then when they engage in demanding ones， 这个地方讲一下 ，demanding 其实就是 difficult tasks。好，就是那些在做困难任务的时候 ，demand 这个字是要求嘛，所以如果你今天说某个这个工作 is very demanding， 意思就是要求你要付出非常多的体力或是脑力等等。
All right, I have a question for you. When you were young, did your parents have a car?
Yes.
They had a car. Okay. Now let me ask you. You're driving and your dad wants to park the car.
Yeah.
And you're listening to music. Did he ever turn the music down before he parks the car?
Yes.
So do you know why you do that? So think about this. You're driving in the car. Mom and dad want to park. So what do? They turn the music lower to park. Why do we turn the music down when we want to park? And the answer is because it gives your brain more energy to think about difficult things. So when we're engaged in demanding tasks, we need more of our brain power. Now, we don't think of music as being very difficult, but it does use some of your brain. When you turn it down, your brain has a little bit more free energy to focus or to do a better job at this more difficult job. And because if you're listening to music like you're singing and, having fun and drumming on the steering wheel, and then pow, you hit another car. So you turn the music down so you can park better.
所以说今天的话就变成是把这个音乐关小声了，等于是把我们脑袋的空间释放出来。
That's right.
这样子的话，你在停车的时候就是比较有多的余裕去处理其他的这些比较复杂的工作。
That's right, because parking, especially in a small space or there are a lot of cars, it can be very difficult. So you want to be more careful. So you need more of your brain power.
原来如此。
Let's continue here. The scientists have named this area of the brain the default mode network, or the DMN.
好，所以到后来呢，这些科学家们呢 ，the scientists have named this area， 于是呢就把这个特别在你放空、比较没有做那么困难任务的时候，特别活跃的这个区域呢，好，叫了这个名字 ，the default mode network， 或者简称为 the DMN。
So while we're talking about this idea of doing simple tasks versus engaging in demanding ones, Einstein was a very big fan of this. Einstein said his best ideas came while he was shaving. Now, some of you might shave, some of you probably don't. When you're shaving, it's not difficult. You have to be careful because you can cut yourself. I get cut here under my nose a lot. You have like blood on your face. But it's not really difficult. And you have a lot of brain power to think about things. And so while you're shaving, you can't drink coffee. You can't eat breakfast. You can't jump up and down. You only shave slowly and carefully for a few minutes. So your brain has just some free time to think. And he would think of very special ideas.
所以说老师呢在提到一个非常有名的例子，比方说大家都知道爱因斯坦是个天才，对不对？然后他呢就非常擅长运用这样的方式去找到很好的 idea。然后老师就提到说，爱因斯坦呢往往他说他在好点子出现的时候，往往是在他刮胡子的时候，因为你在刮胡子的时候，你不能做其他的事情嘛，你不能喝咖啡啊，你不能看报纸啊，对吧？
Jump rope.
跳绳啊，没办法嘛，所以你只能好好的刮胡子。在这个时候，你脑袋呢就有一些多余的空间，可以去想一些你平常没有机会去找到的一些答案。
That's right. Einstein, before he was a famous scientist, had a really boring job. He's just like stamp, paper, and it was very boring. His brain had a lot of free time, and he would think of a lot of good ideas while he was engaged in simple tasks.
OK， 所以说爱因斯坦在做他的原本的那个工作的时候，他的工作可能像是那种类似文书工作吧，盖印章的这种工作，非常非常机械化，非常非常简单，用不了多少的脑力。于是他有充足的这个脑力，可以去想一些其他特殊的创意。所以这是不是故事告诉我们，如果要变成一个伟大的可能科学家的话，必须要先找一份非常非常无聊的工作。
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we have our next paragraph. Hey friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We're on pages 58 and 59 in our magazine, and we're talking about letting the mind wander. How do we have special creative ideas when we're taking a break? Let's look at our final paragraph here. Simply put, the DMN connects several parts of our brain.
好，接下来我们看这一段哦，他在讲说 simply put。简单来说呢，有时候你可以听到人家讲 in short， 好，用简单的方式去说明表达的话呢 ，the DMN 就是我们脑中那个，当我们有点算是让思绪神游的时候比较活跃的区域，这个 DMN 呢也可以称作为这个预设的这种，应该叫做预设的模式网路。好，在这句话我们就叫 DMN 就好了，它能够连接我们脑子不同的部分。
Now, Xiaoxin, we have an adverb spelling rule here. 我们复制的拼法的规则。Xiaoxin, simply put is an adverb. If we want to make it an adjective, we say simple, S-I-M-P-L-E. But simply, 你可以看 e 就去掉, right? So, 这是 adverbs 去 e, 对不对? No. Simple 有结尾 e, but 它前面有 le. This is a tricky one, okay? So when you have an adjective, 你形容是有 le 的结尾，那你可以去 e 加 y. So terrible, terribly. So 有 terrible 结尾 le, right? 那你可以去 e. 不要就乱去 e 在 adverbs
没错，所以这里的话有比较特殊的情况，像是 simple 后面是 le 的 simple， 如果变成副词的话，才能够直接去 e 加成 y simply。像老师举了另外一个例子 ，terrible 是 le 结尾的嘛 ，comfortable comfortably。这种情况 le 结尾的形容词要变副词的时候，才是去 e 变成 y。
There we go. Let's continue. It is responsible for creative ideas. And when we are not actively thinking about a problem, it continues to work and helps us reorganize our thoughts.
好，所以这边的话，你看这句话，他说 It is responsible for creative ideas。好，这个区域呢，它就是负责什么部分？是负责创意思考的。好 ，so creative ideas. And when we are not actively thinking about a problem， 当我们没有在认真的去思考某个问题的时候呢，这个区域呢 ，it 这是指这个区域 continues to work and helps us reorganize our thoughts。这句话就是说，它能够帮助我们不断的再去重新的去思考，好，去组织我们的想法。这个句子刚让我想到一个 put it on the back burner。 有点像是那个把它放在脑中酝酿一下，说不定好的 idea 会跑出来的感觉。
That's right. So put it on the back burner. Think of your stove. You know, washerlu, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 in like America. Maybe Taiwan, you have 1 or 2. So the back two are usually a little smaller. If you want to make spaghetti, you need your sauce. How do you make good spaghetti sauce? You cook it slowly for a few hours. You put it on the back burner. You turn on a little fire, a small flame, F-L-A-M-E, and let it cook slowly and just stir it every couple minutes for a few hours. And that slow cook will make it really good. So you put your ideas on a back burner.
没错，没错，就是放在脑中酝酿的感觉。然后所以那个 back burner 的话，就是那个瓦斯炉哟。美国的话是比较离你远的那个。或者是比较小一点点，你可以开小火，然后把东西像老师刚刚讲到去煮那个意大利面的那个酱有没有？你就可以稍微用小火去慢慢炖，然后时间久了，慢慢酝酿好了，好的东西，好的一锅的这个意大利面就出来了。
That's right. Let's continue to our final sentence. As a result, we come up with great ideas when we are doing simple, repetitive tasks like taking a shower or going for a walk.
好，最后一句话说 as a result， 所以呢 we come up with great ideas， 我们就能想出很好的这些想法主意 when we are doing simple repetitive tasks， 好，就是那种很简单很重复性的这种动作，那像是 taking a shower 洗澡啦，或是 going for a walk 散步啦，这种情况下都有机会想出很好的点子。
And Anthony already said what I want to say here. Repetitive. That's a 重复, right? This means to repeat. The verb is to repeat. R-E-P-E-E-P-E-A-T. I'm sorry, 我在重拼. R-E-P-E-A-T. To repeat or repeat, okay? And repetitive tasks. I remember working at McDonald's and I worked in the front, taking the money, and I also worked in the back, making the food. And I will tell you, we had many more funny stories, interesting ideas, and good discussions, 就是聊一聊, in the back because we're making boring sandwiches, and you become a robot, and you just make it real fast.
Right.
We would have really fun discussions there. We would talk about a lot of interesting things. But up front, you never really did that because you always had to talk with other customers and you didn't have time to let your mind wander.
所以说今天老师以前在那个麦当劳打工的时候，他其实有不同的工作，有时候在前台工作要招呼客人，要帮忙点餐，然后有的时候在后台去做汉堡啦，去做这些三明治啊等等。在后台的时候，因为是做这些机械式的工作，所以他们有很多很好的讨论，很有趣的一些 idea 想法等等。但在前台工作的时候，他必须要招呼客人，他就没有办法有机会让你的脑袋能够神游一番，能够想出很好的创意。
Our boring work made for creative talking.
我们的这种很无聊的这些工作呢，让我们有机会能够产生创意的思考跟创意的讨论。
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we got vocab review. Hey friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. It's time for our vocab review on page 58 and 59. Our first word is a verb, to wander.
To wander 意思就是指乱走乱逛，或是让你的思绪能够漫游一番。
小心, this is not wonder, like wonderful. Wander, wonderful. Number 2, an issue.
An issue 可能是一个议题，或者是你想要解决的一个问题，都可以叫做 issue.
Don't forget issue. Number 3, to carry something out or carry out.
Carry out 来这边的话，我们是搭配 carry out experiments 去做实验。Carry out 就是执行去做的意思。
You can also go to a restaurant and tell them you want to carry out. That just means why die. Number 4, specific.
Specific 就是一个很明确的，我们提到的是很明确的一个脑袋里头的区域。
超好的字，真的好好用诶。Number 5, to engage in.
To engage in 就是指去从事什么样的工作。
It just means to do. Number 6, demanding.
Demanding 指的就是很费力的，或是很费体力、脑力的。如果说今天提到 a work， 或者说 a job is demanding， 就是代表说这个东西呢很费体力、很费脑力。
Number 7, simply put.
Simply put 就是简单来说。
And number 8, as a result.
As a result 就是结果，因此这样的感觉。
Okay, so like I said earlier, Einstein thought of his best ideas while shaving. Where do you think of your best ideas? I know for me, I think of them in the MRT, and my Note app, my Note app, is filled with nonsense, like just filled with things I think about. I'll probably never do them, but I just write them down. I want to write it down. Where do you ever have like a special place to think of ideas?
When I'm taking a shower.
Taking a shower?
Yeah.
You like fighting, you're arguing in your head. Well, then I said.
I should have said that.
So tell us, where do you think of your best ideas? Do you write them down? Do you put them in a note app or a piece of paper and then your wife yells at you like me? All right, let's tell us what you think, and we'll be back tomorrow with day 2 of more of our article. Until then, I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Anthony.
We'll see you then. Bye-bye.